Okay, so this expression is called ticking time bomb. Okay, and we use this to describe things that appear to be um, they appear to be okay right now, but it's obvious that something bad's going to happen. So a time bomb is a bomb that has a timer on it, and when it ticks down to zero, then it blows up, right? But what you see immediately is just a dangerous situation that it's obviously going to become a bad situation. And okay, so some uh, like serial killers, right, and mass murderers have been described as ticking time bombs, right, because they just appeared to be like they were getting ready to explode. This guy right here, his name is Elliot Rodger, and he was often described as a ticking time bomb. Like he just was angry, and eventually he did blow up, right? And so this expression is very common. Okay, to use this expression, there's so many, like 152. Okay, now this lady right here is talking about her generation being a ticking time bomb because nobody has any savings. So right now everything is all right, but it's obvious that since nobody has any savings, like the boomer generation, then now it's going to be a ticking time bomb because when these people get too old to work, the bomb goes off, right? And everybody's like needing money and they don't have any savings. Okay, this is talking about uh, uh, like doctors can relate to this antimicrobial resistance, like penicillin and what's that called, like penicillin and antibiotics, right? Uh, they're calling that a ticking time bomb because these drugs are working now, but they've developed a resistance to it. That the diseases have developed a resistance. Okay, so everything is okay right now, but it's a ticking time bomb.
Torture. People talk about the gray tsunami.
The great tsunami, meaning in some places like Japan and South Korea, they have too many old people, right? And it's a demographic ticking time bomb because eventually all of these old people are not going to be able to work and they have a declining population. So who's going to pay for all these old people? It's a ticking time bomb. What are you going to do? There's nothing that can be done really. Um, so we've got ticking time bombs like a like a serial killer or like a mass murderer. We've got ticking time bombs like populations that are getting too old and not enough young people. Uh, Other things have been described as a ticking time bomb, like the economy with too much debt, right? It's a ticking time bomb. Japan has a huge amount of debt, and they're okay until it's they can't print any more money, and it just the whole thing collapses, and it's a ticking time bomb. So anything that looks uh, like it's going to become a disaster, but nothing is happening right now, then that's a ticking time bomb. And I used to live in this apartment that had a natural gas leak, and my buddy came over, and he said, "This smells like natural gas. You have a gas leak, obviously." And I said, "I know." I called the landlord, and he didn't want to fix anything, right? And I was the one that was paying for the gas that was leaking out, and I couldn't, for some reason, I couldn't get the gas company to come because it had to be the owner or something like that, or or maybe they came over and said, yeah, there's a gas leak, obviously, but they don't fix it. So I told the landlord to fix it, and he never did, right? So my buddy described my apartment as being a ticking time bomb, right? He said, I'm not coming over there. That place is a ticking time bomb, which is funny because like one spark could have set it off. But luckily I got out of there. But anyway, this was many, many years ago. And let's see. Oh, yeah. So that same guy, I worked with him at the construction company. And everybody at our construction company was really loud and direct, right? But we hired this one guy who was real quiet, right? And he hardly said anything. And my buddy described that guy as a ticking time bomb, right? He just seemed like the kind of guy who might be dangerous. He was so quiet. So anyway, we use this expression a lot to describe many things. Anything that appears to be dangerous, even like your car or something, could be considered a ticking time bomb if it's got something really wrong with it. So you can kind of get the feeling of it by what I've already explained to you. Let me see if I got any more. Oh, here we go.
Stereotypes of veterans as either heroes or ticking time.
Okay, yeah, right. So stereotypes of veterans as being either heroes.
Misunderstood and unappreciated. Stereotypes of veterans as either heroes or
ticking time bombs, right? Right. So this.
But maybe I'm wrong. Perhaps.
Okay. So anyway, you can see that there's.
For me, it was a.
Everyone agrees that's a big ticking time bomb.
We will fight.
And they're talking about any social problem, right? Any social problem can be called a ticking time bomb. All right. So I think I've got the point across. So anyway, I will talk to you on the next idiom.